Hello everyone out there. Yanni Reese here for the very first time. First episode of my brand new podcast. Um, and it's fantastic. You know, American's Voice and Yanni Yan is the name of this show. And really excited to really unpack some topics, things that are going on in the world today. You know, people have a lot of things they want to voice and get off their chests, and sometimes even in the climate that we're in right now, having a conservative perspective, sometimes it seems like it still doesn't go far enough as far as the black culture is concerned. And I'm not by any means trying to get off into color or race or anything like that. That has nothing to do with this here. But, you know, just, you know, wanting to talk about things that impact us every single day. And that's just what you call reality. And so I'm glad to have you guys here with me. Just a little bit about myself. I was from Riverside, California. Pretty much lived most places in the United States of America, but I just got back from the Seattle region, Portland area. I was up there for a decade. Love the Northwest. Big old shout out to everyone in the Northwest. But when I decided to move back down this way and residing in the city of Las Vegas now, a beautiful city, hot, but beautiful. You know, it's an adaptation. I have to adapt. I have to change, and I'm okay with that. It's been a fantastic journey so far out here with my wife and businesses and things that we're putting together is great. But from Riverside, California, you know, moved out of there and you know, lived in the South in Alabama for a little bit, for a stint, and just, you know, just moving around the country. You know, from some reason, I remember when I was a lot younger, I just remember wanting to have that desire to move out and just do my own thing. Not that I had problems with my family. My mother was fantastic. My dad was, you know, he lived at distance. But, you know, with my mom was great. She did what she could, do what she had. And so, you know, I'm appreciative of her efforts. And you know, there are a lot of things that I gleaned from my mother. But as I, you know, got about 17 years old, I decided to move out on my own and go work a couple of jobs and finish high school. That was a big deal to me, proving that I could be responsible enough to pull that off. But you know, I did it, and getting up every single morning. I'm talking about getting on a bus, traveling through two cities, for the most part, to get to school. That's kind of what I did every single day. So having at it though, just a little bit of introduction. Great to have you guys here with me, you know, but like I said, there are things going on in the world today, and I love to serve as, you know, serve and be its conduit, to allow you to vent, to get off your chest what's on your chest. And like I said, I see your comments and at the bottom and stuff down there, and don't worry about you know, clicking to subscribe. You know, subscribe to the channel. You will be absolutely amazed on what we talk about, what I talk about, and because it's more going to be more of a monologue, obviously, except for with the live post and go live, a lot of stuff in store, but. A lot of things to talk about, though. The Black Lives Matter movement, the BLM movement, and how people are starting to wake up to that. Some of the things we'll be touching on, that not today. Also Antifa, the hidden agenda. And if you ever seen it before, never like anything before, you see the New World Order at work. You see the global agenda at work. And it's a shame. But you know, it's the world that we live in today. It's the world that we live in today. Hyper PC, hyper censorship, hyper cancel culture, the new word that they have out there. You know, all these words, you got acronyms for everything. But that's fine. But you know, after I come back, we're going to talk about things going on with these masks, and we're going to compare the masked marauders versus the Liberty, you know, clan. or those who are on the side or side with liberty. Okay, see you guys back in just 1 minute. Welcome back to American's Voice and Yanni. And I am your host, Yanni Yan. Before we went off from the break, we were just talking about breaking off into liberty and the things that have had people flip out in the world today. It's so amazing. The things that you see nowadays, 5 years ago, you could not have made this up. How about 15 years ago, 20 years ago? It's like a comedy parody. And there's this movie that I saw once before. It was called Idiocracy. And there are lots of moonbats and idiots out there who are trying things that, one, are not constitutional. And they're the first to talk about the Constitution. Two, they can't spell Constitution. And three, they don't believe in it. They believe in the Marxist agenda that they're attempting to push out there. Like I said, I'm not a statue pusher. I don't push over statues. But, I was on Breitbart today, and they had a little column in there. And it's so funny to look at it. And you're you're looking at Portland riots. Yeah, that's something that's going on right now. You look at John Lewis, that's a loss. Anyone that you lose to cancer is always a loss. Unfortunately, I saw someone right today said he was on the wrong side. If you're not looking to further the American agenda and you're standing with the Democrat Party's lock step, and you guys are synchronized all together, there's a problem if you don't sway to the other side. And so many times we watch the Democratic Party sit on that side to the left, and if anything, they get drugged, persuaded, desensitized, led, forced farther to the left. And the left there's a point of no return of these idiotic policies that we propose as leftists. There comes a point of no return, and you look at the conservative alternative, okay, and we're gonna get off into these headlines here, but the conservative alternative is this: making sure that you believe in God and country. Make sure that you believe in supporting your fellow man. That means supporting our police officers out there, getting some help in these black communities, and helping us understand that there is pressure for America to fail. Don't doubt me on this. Believe me, there is pressure for Americans to fail from other countries. I wouldn't doubt if you even have third world countries, some of them, if we're not giving them money to root for our destruction. Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, these guys are having a field day. But that's another topic for another day. But that's what we're living in. And so we have to take care of our own house. So another headline, it says on here, mask wars. And mask wars. I remember Star Wars, Star Trek, food wars, all these things. Like now it's a mask war. And the reason I want to get off into that, and I'm going to probably get off into the other side of the break, is because anytime a mask or wearing a mask becomes political, there's a problem. A thin piece of fabric that you put across your face, surgical material that you put across your face to stop inhalings of viral sprays or pathogens or whatever in the air. Okay, but now we're having a war, and it's become political. And you know what? I don't think in this point in time right now where we're living, that we don't need more things in this climate to be more and more political. So I see it, and I said mask wars, and I'm sitting back and I'm thinking. And I said, I think I want to look down and start looking through some of the articles that they have here. And this is real live stuff here, guys. And so we're going to get on it at the top of the next half here. Yanni on here with America's Voice. And Yanni, I'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to America's Voice and Yanni. Thanks for hanging in there, guys, and giving me an opportunity to serve you through the airwaves. That's exactly what I do, serving you through the airwaves. Before the last break, we were talking about mask wars, and you look at it, and it's really funny as I think about that mask wars. Who came up with the name, somebody. But it's really funny. If it wasn't scary, it'd be really funny. But it's sad because it's a scary situation that we're living out there. Going back to the cancel culture, and so we've made wearing a mask political. And I'm gonna tell you what, guys. Frankly, people are starting to lose it. There was an article today, and it was talking about police in Michigan. It says here a woman was asked to wear a mask, flips off restaurant workers, drives over officer's foot. And if you can see this picture here on Breitbart, it's hilarious. She's looking like, yeah, I got you, sucker. She has this big old look on her face and a little snapshot. And it looks like she's willing to take the hit. As you look at this picture, it's hilarious. Got a little piercing on her lip there for those who want to get a better description. She has this blonde hair, kind of scraggly blonde hair, and she's an American fighting for her rights. I don't want to wear that cotton picking mask. Get that thing out of my face. Now, trust me, I believe there are benefits to masks and wearing them. But it goes on in the story. It says a Michigan woman was arrested allegedly for driving over an officer's foot, leading police on a chase after being asked to wear a mask Thursday. 56-year-old Tammy Rose of North Springs Lake was charged with resisting, obstructing police, causing injury, fleeing and eluding, and disturbing the peace, according to WGN. And I'm going to get off into probably what caused her to flip out, even though she looks kind of crazy on the front cover here. But she made the news, and that's something you can write home to your family. Hey, look, Ma, I made the news. It's absolutely fantastic. But there's a point here. Believe me, I by no means do I condone what she has done. I don't condone that type of behavior. It's just like I don't condone people pulling down statues. I'm not a statue pusher or a puller downer. Speaking of statues being pushed down, one side note, for you guys out there in Portland, I feel really sad for you guys. I heard a report earlier today when I was heading off to the office, and they were talking about the reindeer that sits right there in the little center square. I think it was Pioneer Square. The beautiful big reindeer sitting there, that they came and they pulled that down. Guys, we've come a long, long way from George Floyd. Which I think Nancy Pelosi called him George Kirby. What a maroon. These moon bats are running crazy. I'm going to tell you about, it's a big moon out right now too. And they're attempting to push Joe Biden over the finish line. Okay? And they should make up those shirts like, where's Hunter? Where's Joe? Now, where's Joe is a shirt that I would propose to put up. But the Grand Haven Department of Public Safety says the worker at the Jets Pizza on North Beacon Boulevard near Jackson Street asked North to put on a mask as required by state mandate. And that's a whole nother different story, guys, a subject right there when we start to talk about mandates. We'll talk about that too, because mandates, what are you, a king? You're not going to make me put on a mask if I don't want to put one on. That's why Obamacare, the great piece of that legislation, was struck down, because it's not constitutional. But we'll talk on that later. But it says she was at Just Peace after she put on a mask as required by state mandate, at which this point she became angry. Authorities say she put her hands underneath the plexiglass barrier at the counter to raise it, sick, both middle fingers, and cursed at the employees. She allegedly then kicked a fellow customer when they tried to step in. In the parking lot at Grand Haven Department of Public Safety, Officer Alvarado Pedroza Jr. arrived to investigate as North was getting into her pickup. He told her to stop, according to the mlive.com. However, she did not obey his command and backed up her truck, rolling over his foot in the lot. When we get back to, I went a little long here on this segment here, but when we get back, we're going to break this down here, why this lady lost her marbles. And the marbles are all over the streets out there and where she is in Grand Haven. See you guys in just a second. 60 seconds, America's Voice with Yanni Yan. Welcome back to America's Voice and Yanni. Thanks for coming along for the ride with us, guys, and hope you guys are enjoying the journey so far. Episode 1, a brand new podcast. Going to be putting that information out there to keep you guys elevated, motivated, and want to get out there and be activists. As we know, you have activists all over the place attempting to tear the country down by the fabric. That beautifully woven sweater with a little bit of string hanging down there. The leftists are the cats that are pulling at the beautifully woven sweater that they won't give you a chance to get it repaired or anything like that. They just want to tear the sweater off. This beautiful sweater, okay? And but anyways, that's the mindset. But let's go back to the Michigan woman, 56-year-old Tammy Rose North of Spring Lake. You know, guys, the best way I guess I could break this down here in this segment here is going to be mask confusion versus liberty. Mass confusions versus liberty. I was listening to another commentary by a gentleman. He was explaining a situation. He's talking about capitalism. That's right. His name evades me right now, but he was talking about capitalism versus liberty. And I start listening to him, and it's like, well, am I really feeling this right now? Is this something I really should be listening to? Let me tell you guys what. Information is power. But it becomes extraordinarily powerful when you apply the knowledge that you have. Knowledge is power, but knowledge, if it's not used, is useless. But he goes on, he talks about capitalism versus liberty, and in his dissertation, he starts to explain why liberty, in his mindset, or through the lens of his eyes, why liberty is more important than capitalism. And he talks about, the factor of making money, Wall Street, all these things, which are good things. I don't knock capitalism. I'm a conservative, and you have the right to run your business, grow your business, and the like. But coming down to capitalism, there's always that element to where if a person has a low morale standard, integrity is not where it needs to be, has character flaws, things need to be worked on, that becomes a problem. Then he was talking about liberty. And then you look at liberty. If I want to buy a gun, I don't want to go through the proctologist, waiting right there at the rubber gloves every time I want to purchase the firearms. Well, how many firearms you have in your house? Liberty to go to a state where you want to go and live where you want to live without people trying to, another gun permit here, another gun permit there. Liberty to feel like if you want to voice your opinion in this country, your voice is not censored. Your voice is not shut out. Your voice is not canceled, so to speak. And so let me tell you why I think Mrs. North has her problem, because she went south, okay? She's telling the world here, probably to herself, making that affirmation to herself that, well, you guys told us that it was going to be 15 days with this little coronavirus thing. You told me 15 days it was going to take us to get it, flatten the curve. Everybody wear your masks, hunker under your houses, hunker under your beds, hunker under your tables, hunker under your kitchen sinks. Don't light no matches or anything like that. Stay inside. Not realizing every single time we hunkered in our house, every single day we obeyed, a little bit more of our freedom was being snuffed away. Then it went from that to 31 days. Then it went from 31 days to 45 days. Then we're a month and a half in. We're like, okay, what the heck's going on here, guys? Wear a mask. Well, no, don't wear a mask. And they're telling you to wear a mask. And we have California just a couple of days ago open back up. They closed back up, and they started to suppress the people again. And so what's happening there is an open revolt. There are some businesses saying, I have a family I have to take care of. You come and shut me down. But I'm going to finish breaking that down. I got to take a break real quick, guys. Be right back. Thank you for hanging out with me today on America's Voice and Yanni. Be back in 60 seconds. Thank you for joining me on America's Voice and Yanni. I am your host. Thank you for sitting in on this podcast and having the Vulcan mind melt here on this channel. Absolutely fantastic. But before the last break, we were talking about what is making people kind of go south in their thinking. And like I said, the article we were talking about with Mrs. North, we were having promises or dictates becoming those dictates as time went on. You notice as the days went on and drug on more and more, these governors became more and more aggressive. Do you notice that the more this thing drug on and they said, after you can come back after so many days, you can return to work, drug on, um, they became more dictative. The mayors too. And it started trickling down, and the only one that does not have that stance was the president of the United States. Now, let's get this clear, guys. I see things from both sides. I'm a conservative in my thinking. I'm conservative constitutionally, and the only one who's thinking with a clear head through this whole thing is the president, President Donald J. Trump. And guys, look here. I understand how you feel. Some people don't even like that name being uttered in their voice, but hear me out here. Sometimes we have to find a head to come to and say, when is enough enough? When can we truly meet each other in the aisle and come with practical solutions that is going to help this country move forward? It's about America first. Start canceling out all the stuff that we're buying from China and stuff like that. But anyways, going back to that liberty. So her liberty's being restricted. You have to wear a mask to come in the store. I've been coming to the store for 52 years, as long as I can walk. And now you're telling me I can't come. You're not going to serve me if I don't wear a mask? Do I look sick? You want to scam me? And guys, here's the problem I have with this whole coronavirus thing. Is the disease dangerous? Yes. Has it taken lives? Absolutely. Should we take special precautions? Absolutely. I believe that. But at the same time, too, we had SARS, H1N1, swine flu, Ebola. Go on and on and on and on and on and on. And I think about the pandemics that we had about 100 years ago. Oh my gosh, great Scott! We haven't had a pandemic of this epic proportions for 100 years. But everybody's they're the sideline armchair quarterback. But the president didn't do this. The president didn't do that. The president didn't say this. I would have done it differently. Well, hoop-de-doo, you're not the president, okay? And let me tell you what, it's so funny that people say that, or somebody say this here. They sit and they cast judgment on Donald Trump, okay? But they don't have no solutions. No one has any solutions. So who can you blame? You can't blame the president. That's off of his shoulders, Okay, and I believe that they're doing the best they can. They need the ventilators, got ventilators. They need the beds, they got beds. They need masks, they got masks. Needed PPEs, they got PPE. Sanitizer, got all that stuff. We are blessed in this country. And we need to stand up as proud Americans and state out that we're the home of the free, land of the brave. Take our government back. Take it back. Because California locked down again. And like I was saying the last segment, that people are starting to openly revolt because freedom is more important than hiding under your desk. Freedom is more important than the government telling you what to do. Freedom is so much more important because you give your children an example to look at and look after, how to fight for your country. I guarantee you, when the men were storming the beaches of Normandy, and if they could see 75 years, 70 plus years, however long it was ago, into the future, and see how we are behaving nowadays in this country, I wouldn't have stepped off that boat. I would not have stepped off that boat. But they did. And those same men whose bodies were blown to bits and pieces halfway across the world died so we can have free expression in this country. Free expression. So mass confusion versus liberty. Going to take a break. Thank you for joining me on America's Voice. And Yanni, we're going to wrap it up when we come back. See you in 60. Welcome back to America's Voice and Yanni. Thank you guys for once again joining back here. As we continue on here in this discussion of mass confusion versus liberty, Americans are starting to experience unrest. That's what I believe. That's what I see talking to people, and people say, "What can I do? What should I do?" Get active, get involved. Make sure you're having those conversations with your family. And I sit and I listen to people in liberal circles, lefty circles, and they're talking to all their friends. Well, talk about it at the dinner table and make sure everyone knows what's going on. And the message that they're sitting out there is almost hollow. And as I talk to some people, there's a young lady I know, her name's Anita. Young black lady, has a couple kids. She's about 35 years old, very intelligent. And, when I first met her, as we got to know each other a little bit more, she was talking about that she was a Democrat. And I didn't bash her or beat her down. "Oh, you evil Democrats, all the horns are coming out." I didn't do that. What I did do, I reasoned with her over time. I learned how to share, learned how to listen. And one day I sprung it on her. I said, "You know what?" I said, "You sound like a conservative." She didn't even know what a conservative was. But now she does. And I told her all the time, I said, you didn't leave your party left you. Your party was radicalized. And it's about educating people. And so when people are making these fusses about masks, shutting your businesses down, they have to take care of their families, These are important topics, and the president should hammer Joe Biden and all those minions on the other side over their head with these policies here. America first. I'm a law and order president. I'm going to keep you safe. We're going to work together and make America great again. We're going to conquer this pandemic situation, which I believe there are some holes in with the coronavirus. And in this segment, we're not talking about that, but we'll get to that in another episode. But we have a country to save, and we have a moral obligation and responsibility to make sure that we share why people are getting on edge, going into stores, and the employees being made uncomfortable. And on top of that, with the liberties, with the Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives No Matter movement is what I call them. BLNM. Because of children being shot and killed in Chicago. Where's their voice? Do they matter? Do you care? But the division in this country, it's time to put it to an end. We're going back litigating past slavery things, past civil rights situations that were taken care of. You have Caucasians in the country that are confused because now they're racist. And we talk about that in another episode. And they're confused because they have all types of black friends, but you're being censored, you're being silenced, you're being canceled. You're now a racist. Put on that mask. And more governors are starting to mandate. That's a problem, folks. So think about it. You want to have that mask confusion, which is mass confusion? Or do you want to choose liberty? I choose liberty, guys. Thanks for joining me on this podcast here. On a Sunday, July 19th, 2020. America's Voice and Yanni Yan. See you guys next week.